This exclusive interview is brought to you by RAIRfoundation.com. It is September the 25th, and I am here with Rasmus Paludan, who's there in Denmark. And Rasmus, I guess the question is pretty straightforward. I understand that you have made the Al-Qaeda list of, I guess, people to be attacked or assassinated. But
Yes,
you've
the
made
kill list, the Al-Qaeda kill list.
the Al-Qaeda kill list, yeah. And today there was a cleaver attack, among other things, on people that were just near the Charlie Hebdo building, which the media is refraining from saying was by Muslims, but French news is reporting that it was. So where does that put you right now?
Well, I mean, the security service in Denmark has told me today, Friday, that they've upgraded my security somewhat. That means, more security. I'm pretty protected already, but you can always increase it somewhat. And fortunately, not to the extent that I have to be in a safe house. That would be a real bummer. But it's not the safe house. If they know there's an imminent threat and people are beginning to execute the actual threat. That is when you're at a safe house. In this case, they know there's attack on by two Muslims on Charlie Hebdo, attempted attack on Charlie Hebdo in Paris. Charlie Hebdo is on the list. They're the only organization on the list, and then the four people on the list would be Gerd Wilders, Kurt Vestergaard, Lars Vilks, and myself. So when there's an attack on an entity on the same kill list that I'm on, obviously the security service is concerned. So that's why they're increasing security around me somewhat until it's been established whether there's also an increased threat level against me.
Well, I'm certainly not going to ask you what security measures are in place, because I think that would increase the threat and would also annoy your security quite a bit. But maybe you could tell us a bit about what it is that got you on the Al-Qaeda kill list.
Well, I mean, certainly as a leader of the hardline party in Denmark and as an editor of The Voice of Freedom, I've said things that are very critical of Islam. I've said our politics in Denmark, which is Denmark as a Western democracy, cannot live in peace with Islam because Islam can live in peace with nothing but Islam, which is not really true because Islam cannot live in peace with Islam either. But those statements have been out there for several years. I became very famous in Denmark during the election of last year, where we only missed the parliament cutoff threshold by 0.2%. So we almost got into parliament. And recently in August, I became more internationally exposed, which I sense because now I have a huge following in India. There are 800 million Hindus in India, and many of them like my politics a lot. I know this from all the fan mail. So this was because we did some helping to our neighboring Sweden, where we went over and we burned Korans. I didn't actually enter because the Swedish authorities denied me entry. It turned out later that I, in fact, also hold Swedish citizenship. So they violated the Swedish constitution by denying a Swedish citizen entry, which is funny considering that other people that are Swedish citizens and are allowed to enter are former Syrian fighters in ISIS. Those are allowed to enter. The Prime Minister of Somalia has Swedish citizenship, and the former Defense Secretary of Iraq was collecting social benefits each month in Sweden while he was serving his position as Defense Secretary of Iraq. So other people are not, denied entry, but because I wanted to hold a peaceful protest, I was denied entry and banned for 2 years. Now, obviously, had I not been a Swedish citizen, that was also illegal because Swedish citizen or not, I'm certainly a Danish citizen, and per EU rules, you can't just deny people entry because you think they're going to commit a crime. They have to actually commit a crime. Anyway, all this meant that there was international attention, and India, there was attention. In Pakistan, there was condemnation. In Iran, there was official condemnation. And in Indonesia, there was official condemnation. I believe there was also official condemnation in Turkey. So I can name at least 4 countries where officials condemned the Quran burnings and also mentioned my name. Now that is, a new level of international attention. A lot of Muslims live in those 4 countries, so that's a lot of attention. And of course, 200 million Muslims, give or take, live in India, where it also got a lot of attention, though didn't get any condemnation, certainly. So, I think that's probably something that has made me make the list. I mean, I was under threat anyway, but I guess, I'm still under threat.
So Sweden refused to allow you entrance to a country to which you are a citizen and hold a passport because you were planning to do an activity which was perfectly legal under Swedish and even Danish law. Is that right?
I don't hold a passport, but I have the right to get a passport. I mean, basically, this is, for people who don't know geography, my father is from Scania. Scania is now a southern part of Sweden, but for many more years, it was the eastern part of Denmark. So that's why I haven't really thought about it, because ethnically I'm 100% Danish, but nationally my father's part of Denmark is actually in Sweden. And apparently, according to Swedish nationality law, when my parents married on the 1st of June 1989, I automatically became also a Swedish citizen. I didn't know that, and I didn't care. I've never thought about it because it's really not interested me. I have a great love for Denmark. I have somewhat of a love for Sweden as well, but I have never considered Sweden my own country. It's always been Denmark. I mean, I speak Danish fluently. I wouldn't say I speak Swedish fluently, though. Considering how many Swedes don't speak Swedish at all, I guess I speak Swedish pretty well. But basically, until 2005, you couldn't have a second citizenship in Denmark if you asked for it. So if you went to France for 10 years and then said to the French government, I would like to become a French citizen, then the Danish law said, if you ask the French to give you French citizenship, you lose your Danish citizenship. That applied in 1989 as well, but of course it didn't apply to me because it was still possible to have dual citizenship if it was something you didn't ask for. If some other country decided unanimously or decided without asking the Danish government that person is also a Swedish citizen, then the Danish government is fine. They're not going to kick out their own citizens because other countries recognize these people as their citizen as well. So that's why I became a dual citizen, Danish and Swedish, in 1989 without knowing it. Now, I could have lost that citizenship because there's a rule in Sweden, Swedish law, that says if you're a foreign living person with Swedish citizenship and you don't actually apply before you're 22 years old to retain your Swedish citizenship, then you lose it. But there's an exception to that rule, and that is if you actually live at some point in Sweden, then you don't have to apply to keep it, then you just keep it. And as luck would have it, or, well, as fate would have it, I actually lived and worked in Stockholm for a few months in 2000, when I was 18.
Okay, so all this is to say there's simply no legal grounds for them to refuse you admission to Sweden.
Yes.
And
it is a violation of the Swedish constitution because it says in the Swedish constitution that no Swedish citizen may be denied entry into Sweden.
And yet, so it seems to me that Sharia, or if not Sharia strictly per se, fear of Islamic reaction has actually trumped Swedish constitutional law.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also the chance they didn't know I had Swedish citizenship, considering I didn't know it. But, I mean, they should probably have looked, because they did know I had a Swedish father. So they should probably have investigated a little bit before they just kicked me out. Of course, 5 Muslim Arabs in police uniforms were high-fiving each other and laughing behind a shed when I was being denied entry. I know this because my chief of staff went to find me because I'd forgotten my cell phone, and then he saw something he wasn't supposed to see.
Interesting. So do you have any legal recourse against the government of Sweden? Can you sue?
Well, I mean, I've filed a complaint as to the denial of entry decision, and then I've also written the Swedish embassy in Denmark and asked that they, according to Swedish law, ascertain whether I am in fact a Swedish citizen. Now, I know the result, but I think they'll do anything possible to deny me.
Yeah, but the law is the law. I guess the time has come to find out on what actual basis decisions are being made.
Yeah, the thing is, it's the migration agency in Sweden that's supposed to make a decision as to my citizenship. Their highest chief is the Minister of Justice. He has said publicly in television that I'm a no-good, blatant racist. I think that's a problem. That the government agency that's to make a decision as to whether I'm a Swedish citizen, their highest leader has slandered me in public.
And is that a crime? Even if it's true, is it a crime?
To be a racist?
Yeah.
Well, it's not a crime to be a racist. It may be a crime to disparage certain ethnic groups based on their race or otherwise. But being a racist is not a crime. No, I mean, it's not a crime to be a Nazi either. It's just some opinions. Obviously, it might limit your abilities. I mean, for instance, the Hardline Party doesn't accept people who subscribe to racism or Nazism or Islam or communism. In fact, it says in our statutes that if you subscribe to any violent ideologies, then you're not allowed to be a member. But those ideologies I've mentioned are specifically named in the statutes.
Rasmus, please keep us informed as to the security situation, whether or not Al-Qaeda drops you off the list, or if there's other, aspects of this threat manifest themselves in your orbit. Please do let us know. This is it's quite a thing. If I'm sure there's lots of people who would love to get on that list. So if you can think of a good way for people to quickly and easily get on that list, let us know. I have a feeling there's quite a few that would.
Well, I mean, I can give some tips. I mean, if you go into a Muslim country and go in front of a mosque on Friday, and then you burn a Quran and defile it with urine and blood from a pig, that will help.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
As long as enough people know about it. Thank you very much again, Rasmus Paludan. I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thank you.